Hello? Hello? Hello, hi! Umineko is the answer DLC. True! True! Now we can finally read the true Umineko. True! Yeah, I've heard people describe it to me as essentially me finishing the prologue. Apparently they're more divisive, but I've also heard people say that some like them more. Like the Ansel arc specifically. What a fucking evening that was. That was a excruciating in every possible way. You guys have no idea. I swear to God, I had to stand, like, first of all, the train was already crowded, so I was forced to sit in the middle of the alleyways, right? Not on the chair. So it was very uncomfortable. Then it just suddenly stops in the middle of the rails for like 40-50 minutes. Once it's done doing that, I arrive, and then there's a problem with a city bus that's also 20 minutes late. So that was very enjoyable evening. Very, very cool. And I specifically took like the train that was like an hour or two earlier to be sure to be here on time. And then it turns out that I'm like an hour late. So thank you, French public transport. Alright, here we go. I do really like a thing that just popped up that really is making me happy. A thing that really is making me happy, like so bad, you guys have no idea. When you open up Steam for the Answers arc, you get the fucking community tab of unspoiled spoilers at the very fucking top. So I think I got a fucking spoiler nuke. I think. Well, it's a spoiler I already know about, like Battler's new snazzy cape, right? I don't know what it means, but I know it's a thing. They are generally preferred, but also polarizing. Hope you enjoyed them, and I really hope as much as I did. Oh, so you hated it, right? Like, you just threw it away. I remember you saying you hated Umineko, and you're just, like, staying along because you want to hate on it even more. I want to spread doubt and hatred into everyone's mind. Is that it? Here we go. Currently... Oh, it's not capturing because it's... Right. It is no longer... it is no longer Umineko 1. We are on Umineko 2. Electric Boogaloo. Here we go. So... I installed the same mod as last time, right? To have the Ryukishi sprites and the PS3 backgrounds, because I think that's the optimal way to enjoy this. When they crave 4. No, 2. The first one was previously. The previous game. That's why they're packaged separately, you know? I'm booting up Paint. I am booting up Paint. We are starting a new paint window, a new paint shot for episode 5, which I'm not going to put anything else inside for now. We'll see how that goes. Drink Dante. And Knuckle. Alright. Hell yeah. Hi, Baird Boke. What's up? I loot. Seriously, Answers arc. Well, I'm nothing that confusing to write down. If it's anything like episode 2, I doubt it. I really doubt it. What does Shiru mean, right? Because it says no Nakukuro ni Shiru. And I know Umineko no Nakukuro ni means when the seagulls cry, right? This is when they cry 4. Oh, doesn't Shiru... Yeah, Shiru means 4, right? But to tune in for the start of Umineko peak arc. Huh. Alright, episode 5, End of the Golden Witch. Good morning, please enjoy this new game by a new game master. What? Are you talking about? Beatrice wasn't defeated, stop shitting me. However, the game has already reached the climax. Corporate has been cornered and there's nothing left to do but await the final checkmate. But for that very reason, there must be something for you to spot looking down on it from afar. It's closer to scattering than answer. Answer's arc sounds cool. I mean, yeah, but I've heard the problem, right? That because it's answer's arc, it did make me think that it was gonna be just 50 hours of yeah, this guy did this here, and here's how he did it, right? Apparently not. The difficulty is fairly easy. What could possibly deceive you after all this time? Nothing. Nothing. She got stabbed last episode. No, she didn't, because she still managed to kill Butler. Plus the fact that, like, you can't possibly say that you explained the witch when, like... Look, give me a second. Because this still pisses me off. Where is it? Give me a second to open it up. I have a file specifically to show, especially to people who haven't been here before. Right. What do you mean this is not... Oh, it's too big. Okay, open... Copy. Here we go. I think I crashed my computer. Okay, no, we're good, we're good. Here we go. That's the problem, right? What are you doing? No, that's... Right, no, it is a problem. Here we go. So, there's a lot of details, there's a lot of problems with Umineko, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, that were not addressed at all. And unless, in any way, Butler addresses, like, all of these, I don't think she dies. I don't think Beatrice can, like, die without at least 90% of those being addressed. Because there are some that, like, you know, technically, you don't need to solve to explain, right? Like, what's the mirror in episode 2 and episode 1? Why are they important? Why did the charm matter in the first place? You know, that doesn't really matter. But, I don't know, I fucking hate it. For sure, address them with small bombs. Okay. Assume you are Battler stupid. Assume you are Battler stupid, which is, you know, very, very low, so sorry if that's odd. But, I ask you, okay, Battler, please tell me, how did the murderer know about the charm on Natsui's door? And why did they do such a very specific thing that was barely brought up and barely mattered? Battler, please explain. Because this is something I think Battler heard of it like once, and it never came up again for him. Even for us, I think the Natsui thing, it came up like once. Just mentioned that she had blood on her door, and then it was kind of scary, spooky. And it just bothered me a lot. Okay, let's stop. I don't want to go on and on about episode 1, 2, 4. I already know the answer. True! Fair enough. You know what? You strike a good point. It's a bit odd. Okay, wait. It's a good one. It is a good one. Okay. Set it up properly. Here we go. Alright. So. Let's start. Episode 5. I did see the first frame of it, because I needed to see if the sprites were correct. So I know that the first frame will be Beatrice. But I didn't read what she said. You idiot! Isn't it obvious? It'll be fun to kill her and see her face twist in pain. Why else? The game is loud. It should be a bit better. Beto! Beto! Hell yeah! Hi, Zerocat! Welcome! Let me just add her really quick. I think that should be like a good addition. Or the very start, you know? There we go. Open it up with someone's waifu. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie. If that's your waifu, you really have problems. Like, For real. Let's be honest here. I don't suggest that. I think that's a very bad move. Pre-played stream. It is! Look, don't turn your eyes. Look at it. Look. It's magic, it's furniture. No matter how much you try to deny me and magic. Look. She saw it's the red flags balanced. Up to that point, I wouldn't say she's that odd, I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, Battler. It was pretty fun. Sure, I just did what teacher told me. But look how great it turned out. Apparently, if you start out... Oh, those are just extracts from the... Episode 1 and 4. Episode 1 and 2, 4. Spark a huge bump in her affection meter, right? No episode 4 excerpt, by the way. That lonely tone was the desolate sound of the wind blowing by. The glittering rose petals on these bushes were all golden. The cloud of gold butterflies that had once danced through this golden rose garden like fluttering rose petals was no longer anywhere to be seen. And the master of the Golden Land is the Golden Witch, Beatrice. She might be called inhumane and cruel, arrogant and outrageous, or perhaps naive and simple. That laugh of hers, which lost its grace more and more the longer it continued, could no longer be heard. The Golden Witch Beatrice, like a doll, resting in the deck chair, adorned as beautifully as the Golden Rose Garden itself. She wasn't relaxing there. Her eyes were empty. She didn't respond to any question. Even so, she was not permitted to sleep. Beatrice sat like a doll. Her hair was down, and Virgilia was carefully tending to it with a comb. The usual Beto would surely have spent his time complaining about this and that regarding her hairstyle. Fuck? This reads like a tongue twister. If you suck at tongue twisters, yeah. I don't know, I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't struggle. However, she made no response, showed no reaction. Can she stop, like, pretending? It really only looked like Virgilia was combing the golden hair of a large doll. There was a table alongside them. On it sat a chessboard. Oh, that's what I called. Okay, I did call it. I called the possibility that it's gonna be a flash forward, like 30 years in time, where a lot more games have been played, right? And Battler now turns into a competent person, right? He stops being absolute dog shit with like small bombs and whatever, and he actually becomes someone able to put 2 and 2 together and find out 3, right? I really think so, but I don't think that's gonna be it. I don't think it will be that easy. All bombs weren't refuted. Because she's playing around with him. She's playing around. Like, even Battler knows this was bullshit. There's no way that if you say a theory about something was done, like, realistically, it needs to be close to the truth. It can't be, like, something fucking fantasy. Makes no sense. It pissed me off. Especially with episode 4. I think they just straight up skipped. Beatrice just straight up skipped the murder of Goda and Kumasawa in episode 4. That one wasn't even brought up like once. Just gave him a freebie for no reason. The setup looked so more different from normal chess. Maybe the game was similar, though not identical. And on the other side, sitting back in his chair as he contemplated his next move, was a young man. No, perhaps it wasn't his next move he contemplated. Every once in a while, he would change the position of the pieces, but considering the situation after every change. Maybe he was reconstructing previous games, trying to discover the thought process behind the moves that had been made. in the past. Kinzo, you shot me a family head. One said that learning chessboard arrangements was like taking a journey through the thoughts of old masters. Show me a battler was on a journey. A search for the thought process that had led to the golden wish to create these arrangements and make these moves. Battler took a back piece that should have been moved forward and returned it to its original place, sighing deeply. Battler's pieces were white. However, on this chessboard, the black encampment was on Battler's side. What? Right. No, I'm stupid. Okay. Was reconstructing the arrangement, trying to play Bito's role. The more I do this, the less I understand your moves. Even Battler didn't expect that Bito would respond to that statement. However, he was pretending to talk to himself, thinking there might still be some chance of her responding. Fuck? This is unnatural. This is not... No. This is not okay. This is not okay. Wait, I need... I was right, it's been decades. Or at least a year. For hair to grow that much, like look at this. Side by side. Let me add a red arrow. There you go. I would add the shocked face emoji, but I think... Here we go. Bito does not respond. Bito is clearly responding. Hates her hair. I do. I think it's rubbish. Especially... Okay, so here's my problem, right? Here's my problem with it. If you have hair like this, right? You get rid of this. This right here. This line. This line right here. Absolute abomination. Complete, like, you really should remove that. This should not be a thing you do. It looks good when you have short hair, right? Like on the left. But with long hair, it just... I don't know. It just looks awful. I hate emo bangs. I do. If that's what they're called, I do. I think they suck. I really do. That's awful. That sucks so bad. And her mouth told nothing. After begging him to kill her, the Golden Witch had become a corpse that had given up on life. He wasn't sleeping. He couldn't step down from this game and was therefore forbidden sleep. So those words must have reached her ears. Probably hadn't reached her heart. The Golden Witch would not sneer at Battler's moves, nor would she praise them or belittle them. By now, Beatrice was nothing more than a living doll. Even so, she would glance at him every once in a while. It would be an empty glance, but a glance nonetheless. Sometimes she would seem to make some sort of gesture, or even move her lips. However, her movements never managed to communicate anything to Battler. How did you decide on this move in this situation? I don't get it at all. I don't understand your moves. Battler is talking to you. Say something. Giggle or guffo or something. Even use that shrill laugh of yours if you want. Can you believe it? That shrill laugh of Bito's will never be heard again. It would have been really funny if right there it cut to her laughing like really loudly. It would have been very funny. However, even if she couldn't answer, his voice surely reached her. What Battler believed as he said these words, he said it again. How did you decide on this move in this situation? I don't get it at all. I don't understand your moves. So you don't understand what this child is thinking? Provide tech support. It is tech support. You're right. Lily answered in her disciple steed. Up to this point, she had done her best to avoid speaking for Bito. After all, there was a chance that Bito would respond in some way, and Brigilla didn't want to be the one to steal that chance. So Battler was going to have to bear with his silence until Bito herself answered. Virgilia could no longer bear to watch Battler like this. Besides, Battler also wanted to hear what Virgilia had to say. He believed that conversation could reach Bito's heart. Yeah, I don't have a clue. The more I try standing in Bito's shoes and moving the pieces like this, the less I understand. A serial murder following an epitaph. With that as a victory condition, try reconstructing the games from the witch's side. But I never ended up making the moves Bito did. In those games, I could find several incomprehensible moves that clearly work against the victory condition. Right, yeah, because like I've already brought it up. Just like the one thing that bothers me for every game. Kinzo being dead. There's only one game where that doesn't matter. It's episode 2. Actually episode 4 too. Episode 4 works. But episode 1 and episode 3 are technically failed. Ceremony-wise. Because Kinzo is already dead. Especially episode 3. Because in episode 3, he, in quotation marks, dies first, right? And the ceremony says 6 must die. I don't think there are still tips here. Do we have more? Oh. Oh, wait, no. Okay, I just got spoiled. I shouldn't have opened this. Here at the first words of Lambda Delta. Shit. Shit. I don't get it at all. His journey for our thoughts is just too rugged. Even so, you won't give up, will you? I won't. I already got spoiled. So stupid. Next time I won't open it like the first thing I do. I won't, I promised. Kill me, let me die. I promise to let her die peacefully. And I'm the only one who can do it. Rita's right ankle was bound with a heavy, cold steel shackle. It wasn't tied to anything, so it didn't restrict her movement. However, it symbolized restriction. It was a visualization of the bonds that prevented her from leaving the game until she either won or lost. And the shackle was probably hurting her. The mercilessly cold shackle tormented her over and over inside her waking dream. There was never any sign of relief in her empty expression. Her eyelids would sometimes tremble like she was having a nightmare, and every once in a while, she would let out a pained gasp. Unless I win, Bito will never be released from the curse that prevents her from sleeping peacefully. Oh, it's Sleeping Beauty! Sleeping Witch! That's the story we're reading! Oh my god! Is he gonna kiss her on the mouth? And that's gonna wake her up and she's gonna like get a boost in confidence. And then it's gonna turn out that, you know, they fight a common threat together. They're gonna be besties from now on. Are you sure you want to be doing this? Seems the 5th game has already started. Not interested. So it is not a time skip. Wait. Seems the 5th game has already started. Then who is it? Not interested. Why should I take part in any game unless Bito is my opponent? If that's the only alternative, it's a much better use of my time to reconstruct previous games while taking your journey in search of Bito's thought process. I'll be the next game master. Any objections? Alright, that's what I got spoiled on when I read the bio. You've got none, right? I've got nothing but objections. Bito conceded the fight as in unconscious. Isn't this a loss by default and game over for her? Well, it made a lot happen to Bito. And she's basically been KO'd for now. But that doesn't mean she's lost the will to fight. That's why I'm acting as her assistant. Get it? Bito was lying down on a deck chair, almost as though she was sleeping. However, she wasn't sleeping. And she wasn't awake either. She was nothing more than a living doll that had given up on victory, but asked Battler to perform her last rites, and what surrendered everything. Of course, if everyone just sat around, the next game, the 5th game, would never be made ready. So, Lambda Delta had succeeded Bito as the next game master, and announced that she prepares the next game. I do wonder if I can read those tips, right? Because when I clicked Lem the Delta, I got spoiled so bad. Those are still the same, right? Yeah. He's still brimming with energy, by the way. But yeah, no, there's gonna be a special someone added to the mix, by the way. I bet you. There's gonna be a new human added to the game. Oh, right, I did want to point it out. Last time. Right, in regards to give me a second. Where is it? Here. In regards to them knowing about Eng, right? I think I put it here. Or did they know Eng was going to beat Hill? Right? That was one of the questions I asked myself right here. That was a question I was wondering about a lot because I was like, whoever Beatrice in quotation mark is, right? Whoever that person is, how could they have the ability to know who Eng is enough to know that she's gonna be ill? So like, there was two ways. There was a couple ways, right? They got Eng sick on purpose, or Eng just felt ill like a bit before, but even then, I think this just leads to like 3 possibilities, technically. 4. Either you assume it's random person X, right? It's person X who happens to stalk them. X stalker. There we go. You just assume a stalker X, right? Or it's either Rudolph, Kiri, Battler. Those are the 3 people who are close enough to Eng to be able to see Eng falling ill and say, hey, this kid's ill. She's not gonna come to the party. Or to the conference. Right? And there's a point that also struck me afterwards when I thought about it longer. Even if Eng is sick, let's be honest, a sick kid, it's like a 60% chance that they won't bring them, right? It's not something that, you know, is 100% guaranteed that across every single fragment, she is not included in the game. She's never included in the game, despite just being a sick child. And it's not a terminal disease. She gets out of it. And it was a short disease. Like, I think they mentioned it. It wasn't that bad. She's 6. So the fact that she is never included makes me think that there's one of them. One of the above. She is never included in the games. Therefore, one of the above could be pushing for her to stay home. Which is why she never appears on the game board. Goodness. Right? That was one of my thoughts about this. Because essentially, I'm going off the theory that Battler has a part in all this, right? Like, technically, Battler is completely isolated from the entire family. He is not really giving a shit about most of them anymore. It's been 6 years since he last saw them. He doesn't care. And there's no reason to assume. I've said already, I think my answer to the last one, it's probably like, you know, in Fight Club or in Two-Face, right? Where it's 2 people in the same body. And he doesn't realize, or at least like, he doesn't understand yet that he is partly Beatrice. And this would be the best way for him to know about this. Right here. It does lead to other problems, right? Which is that literally no one else has ever seen him. And I don't think he knew Nenjo. I don't think Nenjo is someone he knows, right? Unless Nenjo was already like a common stay at the family conference 6 years ago. To the point where Butler, if Butler is Beatrice and Butler is the one who wrote those mails, Butler would like contact them. Contact their son for the letter bullshit. Which, by the way, I didn't actually include it in the list. Like, how did they know? Why did they prepare all the letters? I don't know. It's been on my mind for sure. Let's continue. This is a game between me and Bito. I don't know you too hard, but I'm not gonna let you carry on without us. No one asked for your opinion. What will you do, Burn? Accept my challenge? Or not? Sure. Go ahead and inherit her role. The hell? Quit messing around! I don't know who you people are, but I'm not gonna let you ignore Bito and me and just carry on by yourselves. Hey, take it easy. Okay, sure. A new player means you'll face new kinds of moves. I'm sure you'll see a lot of stuff that confuses you, but even that might lead to some big hints. Get it? Who cares? Quit saying whatever you want and deciding everything on your own. Bito's game has repeated 4 times, and you still don't understand anything, right? In that case, I expect that swapping out opponents might lead to some huge ends. That's none of your business. This is our game. Bito prepared it, and she designated me to be our opponent. I don't know what hole you two crept out of, but I don't want you screwing things up. In that case, wake Bito up and make her get the next game ready. Can you? Bito won't be getting up for a while. Anyway, we don't even need to have another game. The 4 games she's already laid out are more than enough. Even if we do have some 5th game, there's no reason it shouldn't just be a puzzle Bito lays out and I take on. There's absolutely no reason for you two to butt in. But I couldn't hide his irritation at the 2 witches called Lambda Delta and Burn Castle, who had shown up well after the game start. Oh, we're not trying to take charge on their own. It looked like these witches were of an even higher rank than Bito. So high, in fact, that even Bito's teacher, Virgilia, couldn't even come close. But I had the feeling he'd seen these 2 several times before. However, this was the first time he'd known their names and spoken to them directly. You did speak to Burn Castle already, though. I think in episode 1, Witch Tea Party? You can't get the next game ready without waking Bito. That's why I'll prepare the next game. We aren't so patient that we're willing to wait forever for Bito to regain consciousness. Alright, Baron. I don't like boredom. It really ticks me off. We really don't give a damn whether you're bored or not. Come on now. Leave everything to this perfect Lambda Delta Sama, okay? I'll take over as a game master. Don't worry, I won't play with too much absolute perfection. Just like Bito, I'll set them plenty of incomprehensible fakes, clues, and bonus sets. Okay. I'll make this game a huge hint that will help you understand Bito's world and better, okay? Okay. I believe her when she says this. I do believe her. I do believe her. But I also want to, like, hold her to her words. There we go. Like, in the future, I'm gonna upgrade the size of this a bit. And I also want to... give me a second. I want to have her stupid face next to it. Where? Here we go. The little addition from me, because I really want to do so. Perfect. Agreed. Letting my voiceless emotions explode, I slammed the table hard The two witches didn't flinch at all. One grinned. The other looked indifferent, as though nothing had happened. The two of them just stared at me silently, as though they were reproaching me. Reproaching? Put Google. Expressing disapproval or disappointment. Two pairs of reproaching eyes were fixed on Charles. I see. What's this? I'm not satisfied. Are you saying you'll step down for my 5th game? Isn't that a loss by default? Butler won't step down. Of course he'll participate in the 5th game. Don't just decide that yourself. I'm not gonna play along with you two. I don't give a shit. Hey, language, Butler. Then it really is a loss by default, right? Which side wins this game? Is it really okay to end this with the human surrendering? If you step down, the game will end with your loss by default. Get it? If you're not guaranteed that your lonely silver always meets with miserable circumstances in an endless number of worlds, that option is indeed open to you. When Bernkastel mentioned Enge, Butler's expression changed instantly. You bastard! Don't you dare talk about Enge so lightly. Because you have an ally in me, Bernkastel, the Witch of Miracles. There exists a possibility of a miracle in which Enge's family comes home to her. Well, if you do throw that chance away and guarantee that Enge's endless futures will end in sorrow, that might be pretty interesting too. I vaguely understood what she was saying. Until I win and beat this game, I'll remain trapped in this bizarre world. And if I abandon the victory, then most certainly, my parents and I will never return to Enge. For Enge's sake, even though I know that the witches are toying with me, I must keep on fighting. Damn it! What's wrong? You look unsatisfied. Have you already forgotten how angry you were? When your sister was turned to mincemeat? Don't. You know that spectacle. What should... Fuck you. Fuck you. You can't say this. Bernkastel pointed the palm of her right hand upwards. She did. A pale light gathered there, and some kind of blue glowing crystal appeared there. The scene was reflected on the sharp surface. But it wasn't the scene that surrounded them now. Should have reformed. Yeah, no, it's definitely not because I banned like every word related to Enge. You can't type them anymore. You look deep into that crystal, that fragment, and you would probably learn what was reflected on there. Your accent food. Fuck you. Okay, I'm banning the word food too. Don't push food or I'm banning you. Sorry, saying those words. No, I say related, because you guys are making them related. If you stared at it, then you'd surely see the end and finally reached. They're waiting 12 years and giving up everything for the sake of her beloved brother. The scene of her death froze, as her entire body was torn to bits while she still lived. Stream is sponsored by Enge. Hi, Safik! It's been a long time! What's up? How are you doing? Welcome to episode 5 of Umineko, by the way. With best girl Enge, sadly dead for now. I'm sure she'll return. Certain. Damn you! Without thinking, he grabbed at her collar. But as soon as he touched that, which made up her form, it disappeared like foam on the waves. Then, as naturally as though she'd been there from the beginning, Bernkastel was leaning against a distant wall. It feels wrong. It feels wrong. It feels incredibly wrong. Also, trivia key, mention of Super Meat Boy, also banned. No allowed. No Super Meat Boy on this stream. This feels wrong. This feels really wrong. I'm sorry. I hate it. I really hate it. If you step down from the game, this will become not just fragments, but a definite reality. I will be the one to create that future. I'm thinking about it. I'm realizing if her death is actually referring to her death like this as a actuality, then wouldn't that mean that she jumped down the cliff? Because she was overlooking a cliff right before like killing everyone, right? So did she kill every single person that was after her and then jump down? Or was that a fantasy right before jumping? They did mention that she was suicidal to some degree, right? Because like that's what opened the future arc with her jumping down a giant building and then somehow surviving. So did she jump down from the cliff and get split apart by the waves and like the very, very sharp rock all across the beach? I think that might be it. You'll do it yourself, so decide, okay? Figure out what you want to do with your beloved little sister's future. Butler's fist shook with anger. But even if he swung them down, he wouldn't be able to eat Mooncastle. This witch was like a phantom, or a cat, who wouldn't even let someone pet her if she didn't wish for it. And she was telling the truth. For Angel's sake, I can't step down from this fight. Even if these unpleasant witches hijacked the game board. That's just like you, Baron. You're even artless when you threaten people. So it is, Butler. You're in allowed to step down from the game board. You and Beto are nothing more than pieces on the board that exist to distract us from our boredom. Even your incomprehensible anger and irritation makes for a wonderful treat to satisfy us. Well, what you're doing now only makes for a cheap snack, though. Like those curry-flavored potato wafers that sell for 30 yen a pair. It feels so wrong watching her have any emotion over the like boredom. Lambda certainly looks more like a cat. I think the reason why we call her a cat is because of the tail. Right? She has the tail. Yeah, she has a tail. Look. I'm avoiding reading the bios, but I already read that one like for a line. It's already talking about like being an opposing player for Beatrice. I need to stop reading those. You damn witches! At least until the game fully starts. I'll read the game. I'll read the bios when the game fully starts. Giggle. Fight for Angel's sake, okay? And for Beatrice too, right? In a way that was admonishing, or perhaps babying. Like the headache you get after eating something too sweet. Birdcastle tormented Butler and smiled. By now, the host of this tea party, Beto, was absent. The guest witches were already making themselves at home. What will you do, show me a Butler? Will you surrender to fate? Just step down. You've had enough of being toyed with as a witch's piece, right? It's sure stuff being one of Burn's pieces. I'm sure she'll use you and throw you away just like she did with Ange. I'm not giving you the option of stepping down. Keep fighting for the sake of your sister's future. I'm your ally. Until you win, I'll support you so you can reach that future. For eternity. Until I get bored. Giggle, giggle. Yeah, she's still a witch. She's still evil. That's the important part I need to not forget. I can't let provocation casualry round me up. I need her to do a Nipa for me. Like a Nipa. I would love that. That would just like make my day, please. Burns pieces, Reese's pieces. True. I never add Reese's pieces, so I can't confirm or deny, but I'll still say true. The witches know I get mad easily, and they're trying to take advantage of that. But I always did it all, and finally relaxed his clenched fists. If you want to start this 5th game of yours, go ahead and do it. Do whatever you want. Yes, I will do whatever I want. Hey, where are you going? Even though Battler acknowledged this 5th game, he turned his back on them. Mac, I'm sorry, that's a permaban. Goodbye, Mac. You're gonna be Bito's substitute. And I'm sure that Burncast will wait over there can stand in for me if she wants. Not a bad idea. Better than a loss by default. What the heck? Are you gonna just ignore this episode 5 that I put so much effort into making? It's episode 5? Rude. Battler says he's going to take a break for a while, until he comes back, and I'll be a substitute. Who's that sound? Battler. You do that. What's wrong, Lambda? So you'll refuse to play if it's against me instead of that fool Battler? Episode 5 is over. Of course not. I'm glad I get to play with you, Burn. Come on, let's play. Let's play together in Lambda Delta Summer Super Hyper and Cute Episode 5. It's technically the world Bito created. You aren't going to ruin the atmosphere of the story, are you? We'll see. Don't worry about that. I'm really good at reading between the lines for that sort of stuff. I'm sure to use the Bito-ish atmosphere to make your tale that's even more interesting. There, make sure you come back as soon as your break's over, okay? You'd be ashamed to miss this. There's plenty of bonus hints that will get you closer to Bito's secrets. Oh, at least that's what it will look like when it's actually filled with misdirection. That makes stuff more and more confusing. Wait, hey, Battler! Why aren't you listening when the witch is talking? Because you're not saying it in red. You are not saying it in red. Without answering, Battler disappeared into the darkness. After shrugging and cackling, the witches immediately started playing with the game board they had stolen from Bito. They're like children. Like, they are actually like children. Does witches really understand Bito's game? They're using the same game board. They can do anything that this child cannot do. However, they can do things that this child wouldn't do. What do you mean, things she wouldn't do? The materials of chess exist so you can play chess. You cannot use them to play cards. However, when it comes to throwing chess pieces at your opponents and scribbling on the board, such things are not impossible to do. However, that would be blasphemy against the game of chess. But people choose not to do that. That definitely wouldn't be chess anymore. Bito's eyes seem to cloud slightly with sadness. Damn them! This game's between me and Bito. I won't let anyone else defy it. At that time, gold butterflies gathered, and Mronove Gotnove appeared, holding a tea set with black tea. Would you like some more tea? If you wouldn't mind. Certainly. So, what was this journey of yours in search of Milady's thoughts? I don't have a clue, but I'm enjoying it. However, are you sure about this? Is it truly alright for you to relax here? You mean that game those witches just started all by themselves? Indeed. Just now, when I went to serve some tea, the murders on the first twilight had already taken place, and it seemed as though the next murder would occur shortly. When Bito and I were playing, the game would be paused whenever someone left their seats. However, those witches wouldn't pause that game just because I wasn't around. Rodove? Did you see their game? That 5 speedrun, yeah! Jeez. He barely stood up. Just a part of it. How was it? Renove lifted the pot high with an elegant gesture as he poured the black tea. After finishing that, he finally spoke. He gave us his impressions of it. It did not have love. What do you mean, love? My apologies. That is how a woman might put it. As a man, one might call it dishonorable. Dishonorable. I don't think I said it properly. I understood what those words meant. When I met Virgilia's eyes, she shook her head slightly and stared at the floor. I believe it resembles Milady's games greatly, on the surface. However, his foundation is quite different. Does it go against the rules of Bito's game? No, it does not. That actually does understand the rules of Milady's game very well. However... Butler stood up. There was no need to make Runove say anymore. Butler. Sorry, Runove. I know you went to all the trouble of pouring this for me, but tea isn't what I need. So you'll go after all? Yeah. We don't need any outsiders in our game. These guys weren't even here in the beginning. Because I've been laughing about, crazier and crazier witches have been introduced, and now they've hijacked this game between me and Beatrice. I'm gonna take it back. Right now. I'm supposed to be the one taking care of Bito's game board. That means I can't just sit around here. Nice song. Thank you. I wanted to let this child hear those words. I'm sure she hears them. Milady is simply unable to answer. Bito lay there silently, like a living doll with dull eyes. The game board she had created herself had been hijacked by incomprehensible people. It was being turned into a mess. If I was designated to be her opponent, then Bito must have created this game for me. I've got to take it back. Right here. I'll go and take it back. Of course. Bito didn't respond in any way. Yeah, thank you, Goat Nove. I love him. He truly is a goat. That's right. If she can't respond, then I have to protect it in her place. I'll be right back. Vigilia, Runove. I'm counting on you two to look after this golden sleeping beauty. Yes, leave it to us. See you later, Butler. And please, in a game about this child, try to find some part of her. If you can. But even if this child is absent, it will mean you have fought with her. You're right. It's all useless. What am I doing? Let's go. Let's take it back. I already said something like this. That Butler and Beatrice will team up. I was right to ship Butler and Beatrice together. It's the most toxic relationship ever, but like, clearly it's what it's leading up to. Sorry to keep you waiting, witches. My break is over. When you face the jet black heavens and yell this, the whole world shattered. I thought we were made out of thin glass. Then, I thought that'd been that way since the beginning. It transformed into that smoking room where Butler had fought Bito so many times, and which the two witches had now hijacked. We already teamed up in episodes. That wasn't real. That was fake. You're toxic that bird X Lambda. No, not to that degree. Not to that degree. What do you think you're doing? You're only coming back now. It's way too late. Not only has the game reached the second day, it's already at the finally get it. You never showed up, so just to dance things on my own. Yeah, like you even waited for me in the first place. But it was way more skillful and thrilling than you were, right? Shut up. I'm the player. You substitute witches can just take a step back now. Well, I don't really mind if you join us starting now, but there's probably no need for you anymore. Seriously? After all, we're already at the climax. After this, Burn will probably corner me and win. What the hell? Nothing wrong with that, is there? Why don't we let him watch the final endgame? Of course. Come on over, Shirley Butler. It's almost completely over, but he has the cute and elegant maid and the elegant game and maid. The fight. End of the Golden Witch. Yeah, it's a mockery. What? Okay, so those are still the same. That's opening on this. Okay, I did not open this, by the way. I did not open this. Her corpse was found in the cousin's room on the second floor of the guest house. The direct cause of death is unknown, but her neck was sliced open with a sharp blade. The wound was deep enough that anyone could easily confirm her death with absolute certainty. The corpse was found in the servant waiting room. First floor. Okay. Rosa. Okay. George. His neck was sliced open. Okay, so where It's missing someone though. Was found guest room on the first floor of the mansion because he was lying face down on the bed. It is unthinkable that it was a suicide. Okay. The direct cause of death is unknown, but her neck was sliced open with a sharp blade. Okay, I think it's time where I can finally read this. Alright. Bito speaks, who speaks on behalf of the illusion of the witch. Claims that all the crimes on Rokunjima were caused by the illusion of the witch. Mid-game, she clashes with Bryn Castle, who denies this illusion. Because she herself is nothing more than a piece. In the higher playing version of her, I stepped down as Game Master. She isn't in a position where she can know the truth of the 5th game. Puts her in a different position than the one she held in the games before now. Now retired Endless Witch and Beatrice's teacher. Use the Endless Magic properly and devoted their life to the smiles and happiness of many people know. She taught Beatrice the Endless Magic, believing that Beatrice would also devote herself to the people and retired. Though she was Beatrice's teacher, she was also a magician employed by Beatrice's family. For that reason, she interacted with Beatrice in a manner fitting for a servant. Some point to this as a source of Beatrice's arrogance and recklessness. Okay. That one hasn't changed. We are missing the rabbits. Give me Mammon. Where's Mammon? Mammon! Hello! What about you? The witch who knows that miracles don't occur. What? In the 5th game, she participates as a player in opposition to Bito. However, from the very beginning, her aim has been to deny the illusion of the witch. And her only goal is to crush Bito in her world as a way to stave off boredom. Though she does deny the illusion of the witch, she is no ally of Battler. In the place of Bito, who stepped down to the position of Game Master in the 4th game, Lem Delta serves as the new Game Master in the 5th game. Therefore, it is expected that, while the 5th game may be quite similar to the previous one, there will be differences. She hates boredom as much as Burn Castle, and depending on the situation, she may become either an enemy or an ally to Bito or Burn. Okay, it's the 2nd day. Matsui is still alive. Holy shit. It's been a while. Why did that slow down in the middle of no humans exist? The text slowed down there. Right now, no humans exist on this island except for those in this parlor. And with one exception, it has been shown that none of them have committed murder. And the culprit is among these people. Whoa, whoa! That means it's conclusive, isn't it? Unless the culprit is a witch who committed murder with magic, that is. It was you? You killed George? Killed my husband? Why? Why? Who? I didn't kill anyone. I didn't. In a panic, with a voice that was far from calm. In a manner that was, to put it coldly and slightly, Natsui denied the suspicion placed on her. This is literally Among Us, yeah. However, there was no longer any way around it. She stood up, brushed back her long hair, pointed at Natsui and said it one more time. Who? Who the fuck is this? Who the fuck are you? What? Who invited her? Who the fuck invited her? Hello? What? No. Oh, shit. I accidentally pressed the wrong button. Shit, I closed the game. Pressed the wrong button. Sorry, shouldn't laugh. Oh my god! Oh, that was fucking amazing. Oh, this cinema ruined. I did get jump scared. I did. It was because I was jump scared and I accidentally pressed the wrong button. And Swerve has no love because of this fucking girl. Okay, here we go. Here we are, back here. I will save just in case. Hello? Shouldn't have saved. I think I shouldn't have saved. I think I crashed it. Whoever this character is sucked. She crashed the game. The game is actually crashed. Fuck this character. What the fuck? I already hate her. She already crashed my game. I can't believe like some of them managed to crash my fucking game. The fucking visual novel crashed. That's actually incredible. Foreboding. Yeah, no, truly. Okay. He stood up. Who the fuck are you? This isn't okay. This is not okay. I don't agree with this. I thought they would bring Ange, right, over? This you piss me off. You piss me off. I hate you. I already hate you. It's crazy. Oh my god. I want the full sprite of her. I need to record it. I need to record it. Right. Here we go. Bigger text, please. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Can't believe this actually happened. You played old corpses before. It's not Ange. I know it's not Ange. Because Ange would have the airband, and she's not that air color. But Ange would have the airband. So this is not Ange. Whoever this is, she's not real. You're the culprit, Shirmi Natsui-san. I hope this doesn't have spoilers, by the way. Please tell me it's not a spoiler nuke. Because I know the questions. Okay, this ensures no spoilers. Okay, cool. Cool. The PS3 one for like the first arc. So many spoilers. Who the fuck is this girl? I already ate her. Who the fuck is this? Ange, hello. Flash frame of Ange. She's the best, you'll love her. We'll see. We'll see. I saw Butler in a cool cape. I wonder what's up with that. Did he have like a Kinzo stand behind him? Okay, right. Yeah, but I'm more concerned about the fact that Butler seems to summon Kinzo as a stand. What's up with that? That's a great allegory for breaking the illusion of the witch. I was about to say, hey, look, this island looks like a butterfly. That's crazy. And then I look again, and it doesn't look like a butterfly. Until I feel dumb. So I'm glad I didn't say it out loud. I like both. I actually like both. I can't really tell you which one is better. Like, I'm not saying this as a cop-out. I think they're both really good. I think I prefer the first one, mostly because I've seen it more times. But we'll see. Like, I think I'm gonna grow to like this one more. Yes, Natsui, please open up. She knocked loudly and repeatedly. Natsui yelled. Shortly after, there was a heavy clunking sound. The sound of the door to Kinzo's study unlocking could be heard. As the door opened, a heavily sweet, venomous odor flowed out. Natsui was always ashamed of how she automatically grimaced at that, even though she thought it rude to the family head. Russ was waiting for her inside the study. Natsui flew into his arms. His father, is he? Calm yourself. Dr. Nanjo is examining him now. With an uncertain gait, Natsui walked towards the center of the study, supported by Cross. There, a dignified bed fitting for the Ishimiya family head could be seen, along with Nenjo, Genji, and Kumasawa. Dr. Nanjo! His father! After sighing deeply, Nenjo left the side of the bed. On the bed, Kinzo could be seen lying down, asleep. He died peacefully. I don't think Kinzo had any regrets. Father! Father! Sobbing, Natsui slumped over the chest of that man, but fallen into a sleep from which he would never awaken. Madam, please stay strong. Father! Father! This is just too sudden! Are they real tears? Why does she like Kinzo that much? Yeah, I instantly recognize it. It's the first scene of episode 1. Which, by the way, speaking of episode 1, right, it's gonna be very important. I gotta take a small break to go pee. BRB. hello again. Here we go. I'm back. Sorry. Alright, I want to check something. Alright, she's not in the family register. She isn't here yet. Because they haven't introduced her. I guess she's gonna take the place of Beatrice. Right here. I mean, you can't see it, but... You can't see my cursor, but, you know. Natsu couldn't stop crying over the death of the man whom she had loved like a second father. Really? That much? Kumisawa rubbed Natsui's back, consoling her. Cross slumped into his late father's favorite chair. But sitting there, he might have been immersed in his memories of his departed father. Or perhaps he thought that by sitting there, he might be able to understand just a bit of the madness of Kinzo's later years, which he had never been able to comprehend before. And Nanjo, just as he had when Kinzo once sat in that chair contemplating a chess move, turned his back and looked down over the outside world through a crack in the curtains. If only he'd been sick in bed for a year or so first. I do wish he could have died after a grace period during which the proper arrangements could have been made. It's the other way around. We should be glad that he was in high spirits until the very end. Well, at least that's true as far as public appearances are concerned. Nanjo understood that well. Shiromiya Kinzo, who had risen like a comet and glittered like a supernova in the post-world business world, had died. His funeral would probably be of a fantastic scale. It would also be the ceremony marking Cross's inheritance of the headship. He would have to arrange everything as the host of the event, carry out funeral diplomacy perfectly, make it clear to all that the Ushiromiya family still has enormous influence in the political and financial sphere. As Nanjo watched Cross, he was vividly reminded of the time when Kinzo had been suddenly selected as the Ushiromiya family head. When Kinzo had been lost and confused, maybe even on a magical scale. True! In this way, he was able to understand Cross's distress and sympathize with it. Natsui's sobs eventually subsided. Not subsidized. That's the wrong thing. Watching this and leaving Kumasawa to care for Natsui as a fellow woman, Genji returned to where Cross was. And, as though asking what should be done, Genji lowered his head slightly. Genji and I will deal with the formalities. Cross, perhaps you should contact the relatives first. Cross, with his hands still over his eyes, didn't respond. Perhaps even though he had known this day would come, Cross really could deny the shock at how suddenly that reached him. We'll leave this to Dr. Nanjo and me. Cross, I suggest that you first speak with Madam. Are you sure that? Or maybe it was a coincidence. I was still responding to Genji's words, and Tsui came over. Wait. Oh, no, I wanted to see like, yeah, no, Cross didn't die? No, he... Who died? I don't remember if Cross died. Okay. Her eyes were red from crying so much, but she apparently understood the heavy responsibility that had been imposed on them even better than Cross did. Starting now, you are the head of the glorious Ushiromiya family. Let us show everyone inside and out that you have splendidly succeeded your father. As your wife, I, Natsui, am prepared to serve you until the day our coffins are laid down alongside each other. Trying to encourage her husband, who was overcome with shock, Natsui lent him some reassuring words. When Cross finally lowered the hands that had been covering his face, he looked up at the ceiling with a blank expression and let out a deep, deep sigh. Please, stay strong. There are a great many people who will plan to devour everything Father has left behind. We must fight to protect Father's honor and wealth. That is the first responsibility of the Ushiromiya ahead. I understand. I do understand. Nanjo, Genji, please take care of the legal and funeral arrangements. Especially you, Genji. I ask that you take particular care and see to it that the funeral will be a fitting one for Father. Certainly. Dr. Nanjo, they didn't pass away in an hospital, so... Indeed. An autopsy might be required, depending on circumstances. Can't you do something about that? Even though he has passed away, Father's body is precious. Any damage to it would not be acceptable. I was going on about, like, crocodile tears. But... What? No. That's true, you can't say this. We're like 5 seconds into the game. Natsui, you can't say this stuff. This isn't okay. This is not okay. This isn't starting well. The human side is not starting well, I will say. I understand how you feel. However, it is also important to deal with these matters properly. And, I don't really know how to say this, but several of the relatives might make things difficult, yes? It's supposed to hide the small bombs. True! Good point. Munida's vultures after the inheritance might try to find fault with them. Might claim to have found some reason to suspect the cause of death. Using that as a point of contention to start some trouble. Right now, it was important not only to pay Kinzo's remains a respect they were due, but also to solidify the position of the new family head. Cross. Understood. Please keep it to an absolute minimum. Make sure that Father's dignity is not damaged, even by mistake. That will be fine. Do not worry. In any event, leave Kinzo to us and stay by Cross's side. Things will start to get quite difficult from here on out. I understand. And you too, dear. Please stay strong. Cross was still staring blankly at the ceiling with a befuddled expression on his face. She understood the shock and the very responsibility he bore. Natsui understood her husband's feelings as much as anyone. I will contact the relatives. Please rest for the time being. Cross didn't respond. Natsui, thinking him to just be a bit of unreliable at the moment, decided she must offer her support. Seeing her husband like this actually spurred Natsui to action, and a resolute expression rose to her face. Things will get busy from here now. Let's start by doing whatever we can right now. I'm sure my husband wants to have some time alone with Father. We should step out for a moment. Good point. After all, this will probably be his last time he gets that chance. Being in charge of a funeral is tiring work. There's no time to shed tears. If Cross were ever to be given time to cry for his dead father, that time would have to be now. Everyone agreed with Kumasawa's words. Even so, Cross continued to blankly gaze up at the ceiling and didn't respond in any way. Natsui urged the servants to go. I'll go talk to Jessica too. The child is not the successor to the headship. I'll make sure to tell her to be fully prepared. Wait! As they each started to make their way out of the study, Cross finally spoke. They stopped walking. Yes? Wait. Yes? And then she already stopped walking, just like her husband had asked. But despite that, he told her once again to wait. From the slightly weak words, Natsui understood that he probably stopped her because he wanted her to be by his side. The rest of you downstairs! I will stay with my husband. Please call us on the phone if anything happens. Certainly. Oh, I thought I told you to wait! When Cross suddenly raised his voice, everyone jumped and turned around, unable to comprehend what she had done to spark her husband's wrath. Natsui ran up to him. What's wrong, dear? If I say something rude? So please forgive me. No, that's not it. That's not it. Wait a second. Give me some time. Yes, I understand. It's important to sort those things out inside your heart. We're just going to leave this place in silence to give you some time, okay? And I'm telling you to wait before doing that. Listen up. No one move. Not even an inch. If you're tired, then feel free to sit in whatever chair or sofa you want. So just stay quiet and don't talk. Don't do anything. Those unreasonable words felt like a glimpse of how Kinzo used to be. He is sitting in the Kinzo chair, so that might make sense. Natsu couldn't hide a slight surprise at this behavior, which almost made it seem as though Kinzo had possessed her husband. Natsu told the servants to wait for the time being. She ordered them to sit on the sofa a short distance off. Approach your husband, and spoke to him in a small voice. Magic chair confirmed. Yeah, you know what? That's the one thing I will say is magic. It's Kinzo's chair. That's it. That's the only actual magic for the entire series. It's Kinzo's chair. Nothing else is magical except for this. Here we go. Solved it. If you order it, I will wait however long you ask. I won't move. Don't be try and calm yourself. No, that's not it. That's not it. Was it really blood, or was he actually being possessed? Cross's disorderly style of speech strongly resembled Kinzo's. She was Chiss. Natsui became certain that Cross was Kinzo's son after all, and that he was a true successor, more suitable than any other person. Natsui, come here. Cross stood up and headed towards the window, trying to lengthen the distance between himself and the servants waiting on the sofa by even a small amount. Natsui realized that he must have something secret to discuss. Yes, dear? What is it? Father dying? It's bad. But he has already passed away. We cannot turn back time. That's not it. It's bad that it happened now. What do you mean? I've been putting Father's fortune up as collateral. I won't be able to hide it when the division of the inheritance comes into question. What? Collateral, you say? How much? Remember how I helped Kondo-kun back in Melodyland? Didn't I tell you to break ties with that person? I thought you said you'd refuse them. Why? There's such a thing as a man's honor. I couldn't refuse. Cross claimed to hold honor as a virtue. However, Natsui knew that he most often used this as an excuse for when he reluctantly went along with some deal that he just couldn't refuse. That wouldn't be a problem if we had plenty of money on hand. Didn't you borrow quite a lot of money for the plan to turn this island into a resort? Yeah, I did. If there were people here there who lent me a hand along the way, I'm going to repay them. I can't just sit around on my hands. You need money to repay people. You need money to make money. You can't even get started without money. And even the plan for this island would be proceeding smoothly. If only there had been problems with a planning company. I made contact with a government official in the city. I even got the governor's words that this would become the newest travel destination in the Tokyo metropolis. The groundwork they laid was completely perfect. Random chance and bad timing were against me. It was just a bit of bad luck. Like a traffic accident. That was no accident. It was fraud. You were tricked! They were never drawing plans for turning this island into a resort in the first place. That's not true! Hijikata-kun's vision was simply overflowing with foresight. The way his eyes always focused on the new whole world and the future taught me that things I always believed to be mere dreams were only the tip of the iceberg of what is possible. Expand your dreams to the whole world, to the future! You heard him say that too, right? Yes, I heard. And I think I remember telling you what I thought after we returned home. I said he was suspicious, that he only spoke of dreams and didn't have his feet planted on the ground. And that he must not have any further relations with him. His ape was stolen. You know what? If apes were real back then, if apes were real, I think it would have been stolen. Sadly, his apes aren't real yet. They haven't come to life yet, so... But I do agree with you. That would be so fitting. Hijikata-kun is a wonderful, pleasant young man. One could learn a lot from the way he lives. I can respect him despite his youth. I won't have you insulting him. That's what you said about the whole moon tourism thing. You're saying he was visionary, that he looked to the future, that had high aspirations. And what was the old result? Eventually, you yourself admitted that it was utter nonsense, right? I'm sure something was wrong ever since that strange man showed up, claiming to be a high-ranking... There's no way Cross fell for this, right? There's no way Cross fell for this. What a guy! What a guy! Holy shit! What a guy! This Cross guy is absolutely incredible. I love him. That foreigner was nothing more than an international swindler. Both Mr. Sunazaki and I were victims in that case. Right now his vision isn't mistaken. In the future, there will surely come a time when the richest people in the world develop a liking for space travel. Yeah, so that's... When they talked about... Okay. Wait, first of all, who is Sonezaki? No idea. He is the main protagonist and literature club president of Maidens of the Savage Season Wiki. Looks like this. Apparently. According to Google, this is who it is. Is this Sonezaki? You won't get it for now, lol. Okay, yeah, no, that's what I was wondering. Wait. Okay. Give me a second, I want to check something. Okay, here we go. Cross is the visionary. I mean, when in episode 1, I think it was in episode 1, where they talked about Cross being like a, not a moron, but like... What was the word? He always thought to the future, right? Where like he was always planning for the future. And that he happened to be wrong by chance. Or by bad luck, right? It was something like this. And if it just framed it, when I heard this, right? I thought something more like, oh, he invested money into making a resort at like this place, except that the trend and the fad for going to this place only came like 20 years after him, after he did this thing. So he got no profit after he already sold everything. You know? I was thinking like in a timeline of like 5 to 10 years of mistake, right? And I was like, oh, he's just unlucky. That's fair. Not him buying fucking moon tourism. I thought he was like just a bad businessman. I didn't think he was like a fucking moron. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I gave him too much of the benefit of the doubt. Too much. Good to know. Good to know he's a fucking moron. Alright. Very person in prison in that area will probably be monopolized by a single private company. WPON is not mistaken. We're simply a group of international swindlers who are trying to take advantage of that fact and deceive investors across the world. I'm trying to tell you that the Sonezaki man was one of them too. How gullible are you? But he always just accepted suspicious offers without any doubts. Take that back. Mr. Sonezaki is a man with a brilliant future ahead of him. There's nothing suspicious about him. Because the dreams he speaks of anticipate the future. They sound crazy to people who can't see into the future. No woman like you can see into the future. SpaceX is doing okay, so is it really a bad investment? Yeah, it is. It is because Musk is pioneering it. I mean, didn't they say that, like, essentially Musk is, mostly... I remember an interview saying that, like... Musk is essentially, like, they cater to his whims, but they're such stupid whims, like, everyone tries to just placate him. More so than, like, you know, listen to him. Kind of, like, I think it was Reagan? Which people were just trying to placate him because he was being completely dumb and stupid. For example, his Star Wars project. I'll send you a vid later. Okay, thank you. So I'm thinking of something, but I forgot what the thing was. Oh, right, I didn't want to bring it up. About, oh... There's... Now, I can't talk about it because I don't remember the exact facts. I don't remember the facts and I don't want to be spouting bullshit about it. What is... Okay, sorry. Got distracted for a second. Alright, did I read the previous line? A woman like you can't see into the future. Yeah, a woman like me can't see into the future, but I can see the present. Right in front of me, I can see a pitiful husband who's been taken in by sly double-crossing swindlers. I'll still trust them implicitly, even after I've been tricked. Shut your mouth. You don't understand anything about money or business or economics. You try to butt in on your husband's job. A wife should be satisfied with doing housework. Keep your mouth shut. Mr. Bean Cross really still in parent and teenage son mode. Yeah. Except, you know, Cross hasn't grown up. He's still a child. He really is a child. That's sweet Truk. Yeah, absolutely. Without another word, Natsui fell silent, just as Cross had hoped she would. She was already far beyond anger and sadness, and the emotion that lay on the other side of those was an almost indifferent pity. Cross, who had been in awe of Kinzo since he was very young, started to subconsciously admire the way his father lived. Without realizing it, he had come to believe that he could only be recognized as a man in his own right if he surpassed his father. However, Kizo had been a mad genius, the likes of which had never been before seen in the Ushiramiya family's long history. That talent was a gift from heaven, and it definitely wasn't genetic, much less something that could be learned. It gives the two of them a chance to talk alone. Natsui told the servants not to tell anyone about Kinza's death, and they left the room for the time being. Why wouldn't Nenja go along with this? Then she invited Cross to her bedroom. Are we gonna learn about the end mirror? Are we finally gonna learn about the fucking end mirror already? And they didn't tell her everything about their current financial situation. These were things that Natsui hadn't been told about, and there's the assumption that a woman had no business knowing. Natsui had herself made a point of avoiding this area in the past, thinking that it wasn't a wife's place to intrude on such matters. However, this might also have meant that she had abandoned her duty as a wife to protect the family. The depths of this sin has been made quite clear to Natsui. Cross was probably tired of trying to defend himself. Perhaps because he had gotten a headache, he hid his face and sank into silence. Natsui noticed that the water in the electric kettle was boiling, and stood up to refill her cup with black tea. When she touched the cup of black tea, she noticed for the first time. The sound of the cup and saucer clinking together told her that her fingers were shaking. Cross had built up a lot of debt to obtain funds for his various projects, and to cover the losses when they failed. Of course, he had put up the mansion and property up as collateral. However, doing such a thing above board would result in the mortgage being registered. In other words, there would be a record that Cross had put Kinzo's wealth up as collateral to obtain a loan, without anyone's permission. Kinzo, Eva, and the others must not learn of such a thing. Therefore, Cross had been putting those assets up as collateral using the worst possible method. I signed over the deeds and power of attorney. And what does that mean? What Cross was saying probably meant that he had, in essence, signed away the rights to his assets. If these assets had been used as collateral for a loan, then Cross could still have some leeway under the loan. He would have to deal with a bank, which would have absolutely no compassion. They would be able to work something out within the rules set by society. However, signing away the deed and power of attorney was a whole different story. In other words, even the mansion they were living in. If the person owning the deed were to decide to ignore his agreement with Cross and sell the mansion to a third party right this moment, they would have no recourse whatsoever. Apart from using collateral for a loan, this was basically the same as selling their house to borrow money. I can't speak today, Jesus! Money. What's going on? I think I got very tired from the train ride and I just want to see Erika. How long do we have to wait until we see Erika? Because I might stop early, or at least not early, but like I might stop at 11. Money. Yeah. Just stop in like 30 minutes when I normally stop. The richest are squatters right now. Yeah. In other words, the moneylenders have the power to make or break the Ushiramiya family as they please. we were to suddenly sell our house on some slight whim, we'd have to pack our bags and leave right now, wouldn't we? That is technically true. However, everyone I have at dealing with is very reputable. This isn't consumer financing. It's a transaction based on trust between economically literate men. I trust them, and they in turn trust that by lending me money, I will achieve great success in business and give them massive returns on their investments. I send over the power of attorney as a sign of good faith. He is such a fucking moron. And so that they wouldn't have to doubt in the certain success of my business. What happens if I hesitate now? Wouldn't that mean even I have no confidence in my own business? If we were such a successful businessman, we wouldn't be in debt now, would we? Yes, we only barely stopped ourselves from saying that. Father is dead. What happens next? Will your debt be exposed to the light of day? And will your siblings hold you responsible? That won't be all. It will probably lead to criminal charges. Criminal charges? Why is that? It's better if you don't know. Anyway, this must not be learned off by anyone. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? What does this character read? That's the first time I heard something like this being said. What? That's an amazing sentence. I love it. Okay, I'm still too tired of laughing from earlier. Jesus. Ross looked at the floor shamefully, shaking his head over and over. If it would come to criminal charges, then he must have broken some laws. He's probably been so intent on raising large sums of money that nothing mattered to him but survival. Ross had seriously believed that he would succeed with several businesses and that he would definitely gain huge profits. So he had figured that even if he stepped over a few legal lines, he would be able to pay everything back before too long and pretend that the whole thing had never happened. This may have been the factor that lessened his resistance towards breaking uncovered laws. And now Kinzo's death, the worst possible thing, had occurred, and they wouldn't be able to keep it all hidden for long. What will happen to us? There is no need to worry. You may not believe it, but conditions are most certainly on the rise now. The value of the city real estate I invested in will rise rapidly. Right now, I'm working to create those and construct a massive business tower. It will be the most reliable of all my investments so far, and will prove to be the most successful. However, it will take a little more time for that to bear fruit. It's absolutely certain. That doesn't mean it will happen now. Will the success of that venture be enough to pay back our debts? Of course it will! I'll be able to wipe out all the debt I've accumulated so far! Have faith in me! I only need a little more time! Your father is already dead! We don't have that kind of time anymore, do we? This... Here we go. It's just seeing it again. Hey, I hate that box. I hate that box so bad. That's why I have to obtain money from somewhere and pay off those debts right now. Anyway, I need money. Money, a lot of it, right now. As Cross roared and clutched at his head, it writhed about as if in pain. As she watched, several emotions swirled about in Natsui's chest. Her emotions conflicted as she felt pity for her husband, while also feeling that he was a fool. Felt a mixture of resentment and regret towards her own irresponsibility in letting her husband run wild for so long. Therefore, more than anything else, he needed a lot of money right now. He did! Even if this day hadn't come, it should have been clear that they were in a very critical situation. And yet, he had carelessly waited for this moment to come, and was now raving about. Her husband was so foolish and so pitiful. It would be easy to let herself get fed up with this. However, she was his wife. Or wife, ridiculing her husband as a fool would run in conflict with her responsibilities. If he was a fool, then she would have to support him enough to compensate. However, she didn't have a clue what she should do. Since there had been such a massive amount of money within arm's reach, it was only natural that Cross had tried to dip his hand into it. It would also be easy to tell him to be a man and give up on all of it. But that would also run in conflict with her responsibilities. She was Ushiromiya Natsui, the woman who had become Cross's wife and sworn to support him, the new head of the Ushiromiya family, for her whole life. She had to somehow help her husband in his efforts to raise money. She understood it logically. But she couldn't suppress the indescribable dejection that seemed to rise up from the dark depths of her heart. That's right, 5,000 in gold! 10 tons of gold is worth 20 billion yen! If I had that! That's right, if I had that, all the problems would be solved! Natsui, that's it! The witch's epitaph! Let's solve that! Let's solve it together! If we can just find the gold, everything will work itself out! That's right, it must be hidden somewhere on this island! If we had that, if we had that! That hurts! Dear! Oh, please stop it! Cross, acting as excited, as if he'd thought of the perfect, brilliant plan, grasped Natsui's upper arms tightly. Natsui couldn't help but be dumbfounded. She wasn't just taken aback because she dared to bring up something as fake-sounding as the hidden gold. This was Cross, who usually mocked the story of the hidden gold. Saying that it didn't exist, that it was all an illusion his father had created to borrow a lot of money. That was why Natsui was doubly taken aback. Yes, let's have Jessica help us too. Maybe some things can only be solved with a child's sensitivity. It is a family crisis. All of us have to stick together. Yes, it's a fanciful riddle that father created. We should be able to solve it. And there's no reason we wouldn't be able to solve it. It's the only way. No, Natsui, this is wonderful. We still have an option left, and right here next to us. The gold is on this island. If we had it, every one of our problems would be solved. I think this guy might be struggling a bit. Natsui, call Jessica here right away. Give me a second. Yes, right now! The gold is on this island, it's right beside us! Unable to withstand the pain in the arm, he was twisting in his excitement. Natsui knocked Cross aside. Cross tripped over the edge of the bed and flopped over onto the floor, and died. But please get a hold of yourself! And please calm down! Do you really think that this Ushiromiya family crisis could be solved by something as dreamlike as that? Natsui! Let's cool your head and think of a realistic plan to gather money. I'm going to go cool my head as well. Oh wait, Natsui! Maybe he had come to his senses the instant he fell over. Cross tried to tell Natsui to stop. He just kept walking. After closing the door forcefully, Natsui dashed away. Natsui ran through the corridor. Even though she didn't want anyone to see her like this, she ran headlong into Genji. Deepest apologies. Yeah, he did. He does. You have a point. He kinda does. Madam, have you been injured? I'm fine. Leave me alone. Certainly. Oh, Genji! How are things going in Father's study? It is just as you left it. Also, Dr. Nenjo is in the parlor. Is that so? You have the key to the study? Yes. Right here. Give it to me. Let me have some time alone with Father. If my husband asks where I am, tell him you don't know. Certainly. Okay, I'm realizing there's another problem. I'm realizing there's another problem. A big one. Whoever does all the murders every time, how do they get... How do they get the ring? That's my main question. How the fuck do they get the ring? That one I can't even begin to answer. Because like there's two ways this could be done. One, the ring is like kept safely somewhere and they just steal it, which could be possible, right? Because if Cross inherits the ring, right, but it doesn't want to prove that Kinzo is dead, he's gonna put the ring somewhere on the mansion that the other members of the family can't see it, which would lead to it being able to like be stolen. Two, Cross is forced to give the ring away for a reason or another, maybe blackmail, and then he didn't realize, like, you know, he was setting himself up to die like within 3 seconds. And the other possibility, they just don't know where the fucking ring is, and Kinzo gave it away before dying. That would be my guess. She then flew into the study, finally let out a wail, and cried. Who the fuck is... I know her name. I've heard of her name. Erika Furudo. Or something. Who the fuck is that girl? I want to see her. Father, please forgive her foolishness. My husband and I are incapable of inheriting all that you created. Please, please, forgive us for our foolishness and our crimes. And if you can forgive us, please guide the way for us fools. Clinging to Kinzo as he slept in the bed, Nasui cried even harder. She kept imagining Kinzo sitting up suddenly and patting her head. No, Father isn't the type of person to pamper. More likely, he'd yell at me to stop being so noisy. However, neither of these imaginations came true, because it was an undeniable fact that Kinzo had entered an eternal sleep. But even so... But you haven't said it in red! You haven't said it in red. Natsui, say it in red, otherwise I don't believe you. But even so, Natsui begged the sleeping Kinzo to forgive and help them. It was still only a few hours after his passing. Perhaps his soul was still there, listening to her. Believing this, Natsui begged for Kinzo's forgiveness and help even more earnestly. Too noisy! Haven't I always said that I hold silence as a virtue? What? Huh? That voice made Natsui jump up in surprise. Holy shit! The man! The myth! The legend! When she faced in the direction that the voice had come from, she saw Kinzo sitting at the study desk, holding up his reading glasses. Did he get in a fight with Cross again? Neglecting his wife like that. That Cross only inherited my bad traits. Father! What a wretched looking face. Wash it. Aren't you the wife of the successor of the Ishimiya family? You mustn't let the servants see you wear such an shameful expression. Yes, father. My apologies. Natsui understood. It was just an illusion. One that Natsui had created out of a desire to speak with a memory of Kinzo as he once was. No, that wasn't it. She believed that just for now, Kinzo's soul had shown itself to her. She was sure that doubting this would cause it to vanish in an instant. It seems that at the instant the family headship was passed on, the family has reached a crisis. Yes, father. I was unable to support my husband. I am truly very sorry. Oshinomiya family is so very cursed. It was in a terrible state when I succeeded the headship too. That makes your suffering seem almost cute in comparison. The succession to the family headship had come suddenly. At the time, he had been nothing more than a single young man from a branch family, far separated from the Ushinomiya main family. The main family might have an honor and tradition, but Kinzo had nothing to do with that. Then, the principal members of the main family were wiped out in the Great Kanto earthquake, along with their businesses. On top of that, there had been a complicated antagonism between the members of the family at the time. And the elders had all tried to impose their will on the others in that sinking ship. Because of this, they weren't even able to elect a leader to revive the Ushinomiya family. They then found the common ground and selected Kinzo, a youth with absolutely no ties to any of the opposing elders, to be the head. So the elders hadn't really entrusted Kinzo with the rebuilding of the Ushinomiya family. Kinzo had been nothing more than their puppet, with his arms and legs pulled in opposite directions. Yes, I know a lot about your days of suffering, father. And then the war started. At the time, I was already tired of life. I hoped I would die on the battlefield. I wasn't sent to the front line. However, the state of the war grew worse with every day. As the time for the decisive battle of the Japanese mainland seemed to grow ever closer. As terrible as it may sound, I pray for that day to come quickly. So listening to the approaching footsteps of that Reaper day in and day out, it is said that Kinzo started cutting his ties with this world one by one. And then, on the day when he had severed all his regrets, when he reached a state of enlightenment, it is said that he had a mystical experience. Beatrice. It is said that he met her, the Golden Witch. I made a contract with a witch and was given the power of gold and madness. On that day, the old me died, and a new me possessing the insane power of magic and money was born. I know. And after the war, you used your ingenious cunning to revive the Ushinomiya family. The now deceased elders who knew Kinzo at the time had whispered to each other that Kinzo must have bumped his head on the battlefield and returned with a different personality. That was how much Kinzo had stood out after the war. Whether the story about Kinzo meeting with a witch was true or not, there could be no doubt that the extraordinary experience of war had prepared him for death, and let him reach a state of enlightenment. If you wanted to describe the mystical experience following all that was meeting with a witch, the claim certainly shouldn't be dismissed out of hand. I mean, maybe it is a self-declared witch that he met. That's right, he returned from war, conquered the witch Beatrice, and became the head of the Ushinomiya family in the truest sense. Correct. Before I met Beatrice, I was nothing more than a puppet, only they had a name. I only became the head after conquering the Golden Witch. However, will the Golden Witch aid my husband Cross, now that he is the new head? Oh, she will. Assuming that he has truly succeeded the headship. Well, what do you mean by truly succeeded? I mean, it depends on whether he bears the responsibility and pride of the Ushinomiya family head, in the truest sense. Sui, you should understand this. The headship is not inherited by blood. It is inherited through spirit and conviction. Even though Cross is my eldest son, he cannot be called a true head if he does not possess these things. And if that spirit were to dwell in a human, even someone other than Cross, it would make a splendid new head. Beatrice will lend her power to that true head. Isn't that right, Beatrice? What do you mean, Beatrice? What? When Kinzo called the witch's name, gold butterflies sieved out of every corner of the room. This fantastical scene had an otherworldly beauty to it. I want to be done with the chapter because I'm struggling to speak right now. You can probably hear it. I am struggling. She's back. She's not gonna be the real one, sadly. It was like standing in the midst of a blizzard of golden flower petals being blown about a rose garden of gold. As Natsui stared at the scene in shock, the gold butterflies gathered and formed a human shape. I think I'm understanding. I think I'm understanding something. When we're talking about her She denies the illusion of the witch, but she is no ally of battlers. I think I have an idea what this means. I think this means that essentially, she's gonna find an explanation to like every crime, right? She's gonna find an explanation to all of them, but she's not gonna care about who the true culprit is or what the true method is. So she's gonna say like the most surface level shit. So like for example, pin the blame on Natsui. Say, oh yeah, Natsui is no alibi, no nothing, no whatever. And it's gonna be wrong to some degree, but it's gonna be impossible to refute. And so she will technically win. But Battler is a good guy. He's a good guy, so he's gonna be like, no, I want the real culprit. Indeed, I am the Ushomiya family alchemist, the Golden Witch Beatrice. I am free to run rampant. I listen to no one's orders. And there's only one person in the world who can control her. Me! That is why I am qualified to be the Ushomiya family head. So is that pride of yours that qualifies you? Pride requires self-confidence and bravery. And it is the embodiment of the insatiable desire to gain power to match those traits. That is why I control you. Watching men who speak of pride turn those desires into reality can be quite pleasant. The quiet man of action is nothing more than an excuse used by the extremely lucky. A true monarch also speaks of what he doesn't have, and he makes that pride a reality, without fail. If one is to control me, they must possess such a monarch's pride. Do you understand, Natsui? A true monarch fears no hardship. They declare that we will overcome anything without fail. The Battler. He's talking about Battler. The one guy in the entire family who actually says shit like this. Who actually says shit like this and actually believes it. Even if they haven't yet figured out how. This gives hope to the weak. They gather, reverse monarch, square to assist him. This is where power is gained in his world. Carried out. Engrave that into your heart. Yes, father. Natsui understood. Through this mystical experience, Kinzo was telling her how to prepare herself to overcome hardship. Even after his own death. Feeling a warm sensation rise up in her chest, she let the valuable words Kinzo had given her echo through her mind over and over. A true monarch! In other words, the true head of the Ushomiya family must not fear hardship. The person must believe they can overcome any hardship. They can't even believe it about themselves, and they'll have no chance of overcoming their challenges. Are you seeing this? I'm struggling to speak so badly, I don't know why. She suddenly felt very ashamed of the way she'd entered this room, sobbing and asking Kinzo what to do. I was foolish. Of course, there's no time for crying when an Ushomiya family crisis is upon us. And now that we have inherited the Ushomiya family from you, father, we must protect its honor no matter what. How long is this chapter? So I can like come back to it in a better state. If it's like 10 words left, right? I'm probably gonna finish it. But if it's like another 30 minutes left into this, I might stop. Oh! Even though you can't even draw a blueprint on how to repaint Cross's depths? Beatrice laughed unpleasantly. No, that wasn't it. She was testing Natsui to see whether she possessed the mental readiness to be a true monarch. Natsui wasn't confused anymore. She answered clearly, gazing into Beatrice's eyes. And check wiki summary to confirm. I would appreciate it, yes. Yes! At this moment, I have not discovered the method we should pursue. However, my husband is the new head of the Ushomiya family, and I am his supporting wife. I will proclaim it in my husband's place. Let us hear it. She failed because she didn't say it in red. There's a fair bit. Okay. I think we should stop here then. I'm leaving her right here. This bitch, she crushed my game. I can't believe she actually crushed my game. This is indeed the last scene of the chapter. Oh, so we can... Like, is it... Are we about done? I think, no, it's better if we come back to this. If it's, like, the last scene, we've essentially seen all of it. So... I'm gonna stop here for today. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I hope you have a good night. We do have at least the beginning of this. Give me a second. Oh, we're gonna save this for now. I don't have much to add to it. Yumi chart at 5. Feels weird to type that out. Feels really weird to type that out. We're actually more than halfway through. Insane. Absolutely insane. Thank you everyone for coming, and have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye. 3, 2. But my stomach is rumbling. You don't hear it, but it's rumbling so loud. Alright, bye.